led by Leo and Mountain in the draft.
All right, for Liyab, removing the Rek'Sai right off the bat. So this has enabled Gemini to be very present and very scary for the early game of Machi, which really set up the tone towards the mid game, which will really bite Liyab later for sure. So now what the approach is, because they seem to be up more of this Taric and then Poppy and then whatever jungler that they decide to pick up to set the pace. And I'm a little bit worried if whether or not they can really match Machi, especially, Gemini is on the opposite side. You have Bruce and Koala, who has been very consistent in the bottom lane.
All right, so looking at the bans here, as it's going to be the Rek'Sai and Taric being banned out here by Liyab. Interesting that the Taric is warranting a ban. I don't think Koala's actually played it a whole bunch. That's been mainly a Hamas pick. Maybe they're banning it away from themselves and they want to try something else in the support role. We'll have to see. Machi, though, going to be banning out the Aphelios as well as the Elise.
Yeah, that's Koala's never played Taric before. We'll have to see whether or not what kind of approach Machi decides to go for, as Olaf is still open for Liyab to pick up just in case Machi does not ban that, as it seems to me they really want to focus more on Dodoi here, as no Rek'Sai. We'll have to see.
No Rek'Sai and no set there from the side of Liyab as they ban that out themselves. I'm interested now for Machi. I think they actually leave open the Senna, because we're starting to see teams actually leave it up against Liyab here. So, final ban. What does Machi aim to go with? It's going to be, again, the Pantheon, so Senna does make it through the draft.
We'll have to see if Liyab decides to pick that up, because Machi immediately denied the Tom Kench, therefore rendering the Senna pick sort of not as effective, especially if Liyab decides to get this Kalista, which opens that option once more for Machi.
All right, so there you go. Kalista locked in here for Liyab. Now for Machi. If they wish, they can put Bruce on the Senna, and we've seen... Again, this is already signaling to me you're putting a lot of faith back into Exosin, but unfortunately, he's been caught out a lot during the team fights with his positioning, so again, possibly they could turn this one around, but it's going up against Avaris, and we've seen now 2 times that Liyab just have difficulty coming into this champion.
Absolutely, and they will that if they lock this in, it will definitely go towards Mission's hands, this pick. They are considering it with this hover. It has worked before, but now because of this Mordekaiser, that could go back to Hanabi. Again, Ornn is still open. That PK, rather, will most likely take that.
All right, so there we go. Ornn getting locked in for PK. Has that Call to Forge God available. Now for Liyab. You're playing with my heart, Liyab. All right, I don't need to see it. We've already seen the Tristana once, and it wouldn't really make sense here, as you don't want to blind pick that mid. Let's see here, though. I doubt we'll get an Aatrox, because Kaigu has yet to really show himself on that kind of champion. Are they going to go with Trundle once again? They're going to try here.
Oh.
Dodoi did make an impact at least a little bit early in the game, was able to, lock down that Ornn when it came to the side of Hanabi. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see it go elsewhere, as now for Liyab, what do they wish to go with?
It's actually pretty interesting considering that Olaf was open, so at that point, it was definitely Liyab just preferring this Trundle pick, considering that I think the Olaf-Yumi combo was quite present, was quite prominent in the previous weeks. But now, this is either Rex's game on the Aatrox or possibly for Kaigu.
All right, so we'll see where this Aatrox is going to go. Like we mentioned, it would be a bit of a shift in play style for Kaigu to actually bring this out. We've yet to see him onto a carry. Maybe Rex wishes to play it in mid lane. We'll still have to see, as the Jarvan is going to be the final lock-in for Machi in their first round of picks. And now we look toward the second ban phase, where again the Thresh being locked out.
Yeah, very smart, as we've seen a lot of effective Kalista Thresh combos in the bottom side of the map. It enables you to be a little bit more aggressive, considering that that's a Varus at the bot side, so you can definitely take advantage of how low mobile this champion is. In the meantime, there is still a little bit of mystery for Liyab's composition. Just as we mentioned, there is a little bit flex here and there, but they're going to deny any sort of safety away from Machi, and this is a really good ban. So erasing the Tahm Kench in the draft.
Get rid of the Kench at least. It seems like Liyab have been having some difficulties with it, so it also gets away the amount of safety that Bruce could have into the later part of the game, and that's also one of these pocket picks for Koala where he loves to roam around trying to get the mid lane going. We'll see here though, it's going to be the LeBlanc ban coming out from Machi, targeting toward Rex there, as we're seeing a lot of, pocket picks being taken away here from the side of Liyab. What do they wish to ban out here though? Take away from Mission. There's still stuff like Zoe available that they could pick up on this rotation for a counter, but just like that, it's going to be banned out. And I think the next one on the table, you look at something with a lot of consistent damage, maybe Nazir.
Absolutely, and it makes you still wonder whether or not this is an 80 carry Varus or for Mission, but because of this Azir hover, that is going to be an 80 carry Varus in the bottom side of the map. Meanwhile, for Liyab, they're still missing a few pieces in there, which is, the support, which James has been favoring. Oh, yeah, this is the Kurd special on this Jace hover.
Yeah.
But that's Kaigu. Yeah.
Maybe Rex has it in his pocket pool, but the Sylas getting locked in is pretty much, again, it could be flexed into either part of the map on either side, whether it's going to be in top lane or in mid. Now for Liyab though, a Soraka I'm not a fan of. We don't see Soraka a whole lot anymore. The Rakan though for James. All right. So we're going to be throwing in the Rakan during these fights so he can pop his ultimate to charm everybody back. I like the idea here from Liyab, and I like that there's other damage threats on their side with the Sylas as well as the Aatrox that they can supplement this Kalista.
Absolutely, and it is very reminiscent of the previous rounds where Liyab has been proven to be successful, and it's creating all of these threats throughout the Rift. And with Liyab, it plays a huge role for how the lane is going to go, especially considering Dodoy is on this Trundle once more. So take advantage of Kaigu at topside, allow Rex or allow Kaigu to just be a pain on this Aatrox. Machi has a lot of really nice scaling once more at late game, so they're playing the usual weakness of Liyab.
Yeah, for Liyab, we've seen what happens when they go against a composition like this team, so we'll see how Machi look to play this one out. Again, Liyab, they are looking for just a single victory today to help their chances to make playoffs. They still have the bumper game tomorrow against Resurgence if they're able to get revenge for the first round robin loss that they suffered. They can still make it to playoffs, but then it depends heavily on whether or not Hong Kong Attitude or J-Team are able to find victories in their game. And for Liyab now, we always ask, how is the mental going to hold up? How are they going to be able to sustain through this tough schedule they have before them tonight as we head into Game 3?
Indeed, a tough schedule for Liyab, but just as you mentioned, they only need one win. But at the same time, of course, you do want that sure spot of a tie for 2 wins, just in case, HK and J-Team wins their matches tomorrow.
Yeah, for Liyab, it's never a great situation. You have to rely on other teams to be losing their games. Now, arguably, it's HKA and J-Team, and they're going up against top of the table, which is, I believe, they have a Machi game and a Talon game. To be fair, though, J-Team have been able to find their upsets here and there, so it's not out of the question for J-Team to maybe find a victory, but we're seeing pretty much exactly what we saw last game. Doidoy trying to get a little aggressive in the jungle, but not even going to get a ward down, so they won't actually have tracking of where Gemini is in the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely, and that seems to be Gemini's plan, as placing a ward there as well. So river-wise, you do have information. Deep jungle-wise, not exactly, as we've seen a few junglers already use the blast cone to avoid certain areas. But now, it seems that no funny business so far.
Oh,
Machi.
see. It's just going to be that ward being taken there, so that'll be all. Just a quick ward down coming out from Bruce. And they'll try and keep track of where Doi Doi is going to be in the jungle, but unfortunately not going to be having that available.
If I remember correctly, ooh, very aggressive.
Yeah, very aggressive coming out here. That's going to be a knockup. Hamas, though, gets ignited, and the hook was still available, so Koala and Bruce, this is not the start you were looking for.
What?
If you're on the side of Liyab. Both AD carries, they just flash on forward. It's going to be first blood going in favor of Bruce. Exon does get a return kill.
I think the plan was to get first blood for Liyab, but I'm not sure if that was Gemini walking towards bot lane, though.
Oh, Gemini,
No
he's
flash.
going to come on over. Exon doesn't have flash, like you mentioned. Unable to sidestep, and he'll get taken down there as Gemini pass immediately after taking the red buff, so skipping his bot side jungle. Not exactly the start Liyab we're looking for.
And this is Liyab's plan. They wanted to start this one, it seems, as James was positioning aggressively here towards bot side and getting that knockoff, but with Bruce getting that first blood, they got...
No.
Oh, they're starting again.
Down. Again, Bruce immediately. Doi Doi tries to equal out the tides in bot lane, but it's going to be no one fallen here. But still, a bunch of summoners blown on both sides of the map here. It's just chaos in the bot lane.
It's not stopping. Dodoy's still lurking around.
Oh, able to get the knock up there onto Koala, so that's going to force him now to Spider-Man to safety. Oh, the pillar was close, but Exon able to find the kill, and that's now 2 kills on the Callista.
Non-stop for Liyab here, and you're right, it's all about, again, speeding up the process of Exosen's growth here as the Callista, and they're playing this well. Again, a good start. We've seen this good starts before. Again.
They're not stopping. Bruce has to sidestep away, but there you go. It's Exosen getting his 3rd kill of the game. And we talked about putting all your eggs in this Callista basket. Well, they just put literally all the eggs. They didn't even take it out of the carton. They just threw cartons of eggs into this basket as Exosen now has 3 kills before 5 minutes.
Before I say my piece, let's take a look at the replay again. Dodoy's constant pressure over bot side is working well, and Dodoy just did not leave. He stayed there knowing that there was no ward at that area, and therefore he could take advantage of Bruce still wanting to get that CS at least. So the pillar, really nice way to sort of get Bruce to sidestep a little bit, and that's going to be an easy knock-up for James. I just wanted to say that Gemini was still finishing his blue side area, and then Dodoy ganked twice.
It doesn't end. They're going again. Gemini is going to try and come back for the counter gank. They just jump immediately onto Koala. They're going to wait for all the summoners. There comes the teleport, and maybe Liyab are finally going to get exposed here. But it's the teleport in response. BK picks up the kill, but in comes both members on the TP, and it's just the brigade. It's going to be the reinforcements from Liyab as they trade back. Another kill as Bruce is taken down.
This is... I feel kind of nostalgic seeing all of this bot lane madness that we're seeing today, and as well as the teleport from the top laners. And right now, Liyab is getting a lot out of this deal, considering that Exosen has been getting a lot of exchange kills despite Exosen falling from this one. So Gemini was very patient, got that really nice knock-up on Dodoy and James. Teleport-wise, you see Exosen getting collapsed by a lot of Machi Esports' players, but Exosen actually didn't fall from that battle, so Liyab getting the good end of the deal.
So there we go. It's going to be Liyab again, getting the trade back. Kaigu gets his first kill, and I said, you know what, Liyab, you need to strike early. They are striking as early as they possibly can, as again they take down Mission.
Wowzers. Okay, so that is the punish. So Liyab's like, do you want to play it slow? And Liyab just sort of turned it up a notch on aggressiveness. We've seen that for the past 2 games, but it's not being pushed further, and it seemed to multiply now in this game.
Yeah, no, because we take a look back here, it's just an easy gank as Mission's just a little too far forward.
Exactly.
And, oh my God, it doesn't stop. The action, Liyab. We talk about the PCS and how they like to have their fights here. Well, it's looking like LST at this point as Action don't stop now. Kaigu in top lane might get soloed out here by PK. Call the Forge God isn't going to hit as Kaigu's able to find safety.
Yeah, flash for Kaigu at the expense of safety. And Dodoi here again. Both junglers level 5. Hamas half HP.
Half HP, but Hamas is going to get to safety.
Okay, a little bit worried here as at this point with Mission still trying to roam and has suffered the loss of death from earlier. And Liyab getting the best start for themselves.
So there we go. Liyab, they need to find one victory tonight, and it gives them a lot of... It kind of relieves a bunch of pressure here. And right now, this is kind of the start that you're looking for. You still have to factor in, though, the late-game team fight that is available for Machi. You have an Ornn that's going to be laying down a Call of the Forge God into a Cataclysm from the Jarvan, and then the consistent DPS coming out from Avaris and Azir. For Liyab, they have been able to shut down Bruce pretty early. It kind of slows his build path a bit and gives the opportunity for Exodus to try and roll over him during this lane phase.
And that's the thing, Machi Esports has assembled this composition on where, yeah, we're going to be patient, we're going to be slow. HQ and Talon did that, and it has worked in their favor, so they're going to be playing for the 5v5s. Liyab just said, scratch that. We tried that earlier, and it's not working. So with the ganks that Dodoi has been doing, has been proven effective, and another knockup.
Well, they're going to keep on going here. Bruce goes down low, but he's not going to get taken down. We do see, though, Dodoi is going to be pathing on over and maybe wants to go for a kill of his own as Koala checks the brush. It's going to be the pillar coming down as well. Koala still has flash available. Flash coming out from Dodoi. He's flashing underneath the turret against the Nautilus, though, and he's going to get taken down. Exodus, though, underneath, flashing forward, trying to finish off the kill. He's able to save Hamas, and he's able to tank up the tower, but unfortunately now Mission is here to come in and join in on the party. Bruce is going to get taken down. Exodus trying to finish off the kill, but he won't be able to as the Emperor's Divide keeps the Varus safe, and it's a shutdown over to Mission.
That looked like a communication error, because they seem to have different plans in mind. I think or probably they had the same plan in mind, but the waves didn't really match. So Exisen was a little bit hesitant for the dive, and Dodoi was extra aggressive. So I want to take a look at this again. So it all started with Hamas's knockup, and again, Bruce was so low at this point, and he still did have flash and exhaust at the time. So with that said, wave was still not yet done to crash towards the tower. So Hamas was forced to go back and forth. Tank one. Oh, but it was too late. You saw Hamas wanting to go back.
They were close. I'll give it to them. They were trying their hardest here to make this dive happen, but unfortunately, it just wasn't clean enough, and that does bring now Machi pretty much equal when it comes to the kill count, as also putting a shutdown on a Mission is huge for this composition. And
we've seen it before where, you know, the mid laner would be a puny boy, but Dodoi, aggressive. Whoa!
That's very aggressive. That's going to be a double knock up there, and there you go. They just continue to just dive this bot lane as now Rex finds himself 2 kills. Liyab are not stopping.
Beautifully done, and it's more of a, like, you've seen them confident before, but this is I think this is the most confident we've seen for Liyab, and especially they've acquiring so many kills onto EXO. That's the reason why they're just very brave, just pushing that go button.
And there you go. It's going to be Dodoi able to secure the Cloud Drake. First dragon of the game. We're already at almost 11 minutes here, and Liyab finally taking the objective in their favor as we might see more action. But let's go ahead and take a look at the replay.
Yep, and Gemini is at the right place at the right time. I believe he did acquire the Rift Herald earlier, and Gemini was just waiting, and he's like, okay, nope, I'm not going to enter the fight anymore, and decided to just leave it be, or else there might be more kills.
Stopping again. It's a knockup. Koala's the target. Depth charge, though, able to interrupt a decent amount of the damage. Exon not able to finish off the kill. Gets himself back to safety away from the Cataclysm. Bruce already have used his ultimate. Exon should be able to walk back.
Ooh, very close, though, into finishing another kill on Liyab. And because of that, looks like the turret plates will be fed towards Bruce and as well as Gemini. Teleport.
Teleport is going to be there. It's coming out. It's going to be actually Machi that bringing it here as Kaigu and Rex have already joined in onto the fight. Emperor's Divide is going to force them up toward the top side of the mount. Kaigu able to get away to safety. Call the Forge God is not going to connect, and this is still Liyab positioning aggressively in a 3v5 as Exton's on the other side of the wall.
Exactly, and right now it is a bunch of teleports being used, but both teams will decide to concede and not start anything, as the ult will not be able to get any sort of knockup. But yeah, look at Liyab. They march themselves towards mid lane and decide to just deal damage towards mid lane tower instead.
Yeah, let's take another look at the replay as we're going to see a bunch of replays come out of this bot lane non-stop. Again, they try hard. This time, though, Machi are able to respond. And oh my god! PK!
Oh my god!
What the? Liyab, they do not slow down. This team, how many kills are we going to see? Stop going to replays, producer. All I ask, let's just stay on this camera for more than just a minute, because, oh my lord, they do not stop.
They do not stop, and look at that, 4-2-4 already on towards Exocen, and you see Rex already garnering a bit of bounty on his head for being very present at the past few minutes of the game. We did mention the timer about, 20 to 25, 25 to 30 actually, but because of Liyab during the carries such as Exocen quite early, non-stop, it's the buffer that is required for them to be successful is actually better for them.
It's just Exocen just getting a bunch here. Like PK, he doesn't care. He's taking a decent chunk of damage. That was what, 10 auto attacks into the Ren. So PK, he's a tanky boy, but he's not that tanky as Doi is able to finish off the kill. Machi, they have pretty much evacuated their bot lane. They said, go top. It's safe there. You guys can get some turret plating, get some gold back onto this Varus.
Machi's like, they looked like they were so done after constant fights and replays. And then you see Liyab starting things all over again, and you see a Bork already completed, and as well as the Berserker's Greaves as well for this Kalista. So this is actually pretty good. And again, vision will be very important considering that Liyab has been ganking non-stop. So Machi does have protection over that river, especially for mission on his right side. Now, Dodoi is just going to visit.
He's just visiting. He's just I know. He's like, I want to get some more kills, but he's given us a little bit of breathing room here as the rest of this map here, Liyab and Machi, they kind of take stance of the map. After all this chaos, it's still only about a 500 gold lead for Liyab. And right when I say that, instantly, trigger is pulled by the side of Machi. They're going to try and go for the kill, and they're able to find it. James is going to fall as well. And that should be another kill going over to Bruce,
Flash.
as that's a double kill.
That is scary, because when we saw Yumi Boy on the Kassadin, he was 7 kills after Liyab being ahead again. And that was a really nice hook coming from Koala. And you get that chain lock as well with a chain of corruptions. And it's going to be an easy pop-off for Exocen as well. And the fact that, Exocen was ahead, there was a lot of cash-ins on the bounty against Exocen. So even though that Machi is not able to win the early game skirmishes, they are able to cash in and at least equalize their losses.
And with that, too, they're going to pick themselves up the Rift Herald. So Rift Herald now in favor of Machi. They can actually look to crash open some of these towers and cash in a lot of some of the standing gold on the map if they're able to find another pick like they just did. Kaigu being stealthy in the Pixel Rush. Machi starting to surround him. At some point, you got to pull the trigger, and they try and jump immediately onto Bruce, and there you go. Trap is going to be secured, and there you go. Bruce is taken down, the sneakiest Aatrox in the PCS, and they're able to get him mid-air. Koala, though, able to escape with his flash.
Well, they still want to chase, it seems.
They're still trying here. Rex is going to jump on top of him. Doi also toward the side here, but still at the tanky PK, so they're not going to be able to burn him down. Liyab, though, not backing down, and the fact that this team is still so aggressive, still going for these fights after taking 2 losses just 2 hours ago, now coming into their 3rd game against the top of the table team and giving them a run for their money.
look at this. Machi Esports, again, reminder, is on a 10-win streak. So this is a completely different Machi that we haven't seen in a while. Every single game that they've managed to have, they've managed to grab the victory in a very convincing manner. This is the first time in a while that we're seeing them in this sort of situation where Machi Esports has to run constantly away from Liyab. And you can see really nice pull in towards Koala mid-air from Rex. And at this point, Liyab is not stopping. The tower doesn't matter. If you're still in range, they will try to get more kills.
Meanwhile, though, you can take a look toward the live feed. That was the Rift Herald popped in mid lane. Was not able to actually get the tower, though, so Liyab do keep their second tier tower. Take stock of your items now, though. You got Exozen, who he's had that Bork for a while, but concerning for me, if I'm on side of Liyab, is Bruce has been able to recover from this early game, just better word, fiesta that has been brought to the table, where he's now gotten himself the rune ends. You would love to see Exozen be at the same, at least level as this Varus, but he's still waiting on a couple hundred gold to finish off his item.
Yep, indeed. And at that point, it is more of right, it's definitely very scary. We've seen, you know, former LMS teams go against, or rather former LST squads really get that initial lead, only to lose it after a while. And that is the scary part. We've seen how Azir can really shred through everyone on the side of Liyab before, and that's the scary part.
So there we go. We get ourselves a little bit more accustomed to what we see in the PCS. You know, the wave clear in mid lane. Everyone just wants to farm up, wait for the next dragon. For Liyab, they actually have 2 dragons secured on their side. So you're looking toward their Ocean Soul, which was always nice if you're able to get an Ocean Soul. Yeah. Always lovely to get some health and mana regen. You can still see, though, Kaiku and Doidoi acting as a pair. Predator popped. He's ready to go. PK, he's going to just walk around the pillar, though. Gemini over toward the side, though, might try and go for an engage if he finds the right opportunity. Exozen just a little bit far from the fight.
Yeah, Kaigu does have teleport if things get a little bit too sticky. If Machi decides to pull the trigger, you now have Liyab, you now have Rex that was split pushing at the top side of the map. That is another teleport for Rex as well available. So now, with that said, everything's pretty clean. As you can see, Zhonya's all ready for Rex, so he can confidently dive in and try to buy some time later on as well. I feel like Bruce would be the really juicy target for Liyab, considering the fact that there's a lot of dive involved. That's Aatrox and Doidoi as well on this Trundle. For some reason, Renekton came into my head.
I don't remember Renekton having a big club, but hey, I've confused the two before. They're both good looking. Either way, it's going to be Liyab pushing in this mid lane. We do laugh here, and we do mention it's a messy game. This is kind of what we expected to take, what would be needed to take away a victory over Machi, considering how composed the team has looked. Unfortunately now for Liyab, we've kind of gotten out of the lane phase of the game, so now it's going to be a bit harder to do the continual dives as everyone's kind of just roaming around the map. So it comes down to laying down vision, which has always been an issue for Liyab.
That is true, and it could be their downfall, considering that, you know, 2 teleports on the side of Machi Esports, and we've seen it before as well, and where the late game becomes a little bit, it becomes messier, and not the good kind for Liyab Esports. But they did have a really nice start. Again, it's not a snowbally start, though. Like, they've managed to sort of get a lot of kills for EXO, but at the same time, Machi would always get these cash-ins. So the gap of the gap of the snowball is not there. So I would be really worried for Liyab.
And you're going to start worrying about this Ornn too, who's going to be adding on the upgrades as James does get to safety, doesn't get knocked up there by Gemini, but you already see the first upgrade onto the Ornn himself with the Sunfire Cape. You also got to worry about Mission, who got that shutdown so early on in the game, about 600 gold that went just injected onto him after killing Exozen after the continual dives. That Azir is starting to come online, has the Nashor's Tooth complete. Going to start looking toward getting some more Magic Pen, as he's already got the Oblivion Orb. There's a lot of upgrades that are going to be available for PK to help out his team in this gold, though even will slightly always be in favor of Machi.
Very true, and that has been the game of Machi Esports. That has been the plan in hand as they formed the draft. They really wanted to play this very, very slow, and because of this composition and because of the laning phase is now over. Okay, they're gonna not pursue.
Thinking it. Let's see. Not going to be the full commit just yet. 5 members of Machi nearby, and that's going to be the engage coming out from Rex over toward the side. Depth charge, though, immediately used onto the Varus, and that's what you need to do. You can see they're just going to try and dive in onto Bruce. Bruce still alive, though. He finally gets taken down as Liyab are able to get the first consistent damage carry. And Exit, still alive, takes down Gemini, and there goes the Azir. That is the play. This is the opening that Liyab needed.
You can tell that Machi was very hesitant to start the fight. You saw them meeting each other at the river. Both of these teams were walking back and forth until Rex pulled the trigger, found Mission in the middle of that brush. And with that said, still a lot of death timers. PK cannot do anything, and that is a Baron for Liyab.
And there you go. Without the jungle, they still feel confident. PK would have to make a miracle steal. And Liyab, they find the fight they're looking for. They found the play. You need to get Rex to get that depth charge, knock up Bruce or knock up Mission, and there you go. We see them win the fight, and now they have Baron buff in hand for the next 3 minutes to try and crack open the base of Machi.
This is definitely Liyab's control right now. Before it looked pretty even, especially gold. So as you can see, Rex was lingering around this area as they tried to just clear wards. You saw Mission cornered at this point of this area, and you see Bruce getting that depth charge as Kaigu dived in. Despite the exhaust, it didn't help at all. Meanwhile, Gemini was very focused on stopping Exocen, but at the same time, we did mention there's just a ton of damage already from Kaigu and as well as Rex, so therefore, even if you zone out Exo, you're still good for damage.
There you go. They're going to try and knock down this first tower in mid lane, get some of the standing gold on the map. There's still a lot of these towers that Liyab can take to try and get themselves a decent gold lead. And with this gold lead, they need to look, like I mentioned, to end this game quick if they find themselves an advantage. For Liyab, that has been a limiting factor from them before, where they feel hesitant to try and pull the trigger. Meanwhile, Machi were able to also secure the Ocean Drake that was left on the map, as now Liyab push in bot.
Yeah, 2 dragons for Liyab, and meanwhile, Mission will try to defend this well, as that tower is getting a lot of chip damage at the moment, and this is going to be a 1-3-1 for Liyab. Pressure every single lane as Machi decides to defend.
You see, Liyab were looking to position there. Meanwhile, top lane going to get pushed in by Kaigu. You also have Exin stealing some camps away from the jungle. I like this from Liyab. You're siphoning some of the gold that was left behind by Machi as they now get their 4th tower in the game in bot lane.
Yeah, you're definitely choking resources away from Machi Esports to try and get back their losses, and also eliminating vision surrounding their backline, most especially, just to eliminate any sort of flanking potential. Now that you have PK with a teleport, but now you see Kaigu pressuring him at the top side of the map, and therefore keeping the Ram on a tight leash.
Yeah, PK unfortunately not able to go anywhere, but for him, he has been able to upgrade the Bork now for Bruce, so for that Varus, you always love having some more of that, and if they're not able to break open this tower in mid lane, you see Liyab, they're investing a lot of resources here, want to be able to get full control of this jungle, as we're going to have our next dragon in about 3 minutes, so Baron buff about to dissipate. Liyab have not been able to crack open the base. They have been able to pick up a couple towers, though, and that's kind of been helping them, but they got to pull the trigger here soon. And there we go. Rex
Indeed.
going to pop the ultimate, call the Forge God, going to get caught out there. Hamas wanted to jump on in. He gets a 2-man taunt, and there you go. In the front line, Exton goes, but he gets a little bit too close to the action. Gemini is going to go onto the back line. He's able to get taken down, though, as now Kaigu wants to join in on the fight. Mission still not able to take down Doidoi, and Exton getting very close to Machi. Still, though, going to be okay.
No one dies on the side of Liyab, and meanwhile, Liyab will be satisfied with Gemini losing his life over that engage, and it all started with Rex stealing the Ornn ult, so there's the ult coming from the Ornn, or coming from Rex rather, and they wanted to pull their trigger. That's a really nice knock-up, but the stasis really held the fight a little bit long, and Bruce and Mission had a lot of free hits to deal with. on Liyab's front line, and therefore the team decided to back away and respect the damage coming from Machi.
And you got to give it to Liyab. That's a gutsy call to make, considering Kaiku was very late to the fight. Did end up teleporting, ended up using his ultimate just to get within range as he was pushing in top lane. So that was actually a 4v5 in favor of Machi, where they were able to take down a member of Machi because Gemini committed so hard.
Yeah, and it was definitely a fight that Liyab needed, or else the tower wouldn't have fallen. And because of that, it was pretty worth. And Machi had a lot of firepower to fight them head on. Problem is, just as you mentioned, Gemini was a little bit too far forward, and I think it was pretty worth with Bruce and Mission quite healthy. So now Liyab has to be very scared in the next couple of fights. A Bloodthirster already completed for Bruce, so very prepared for these really long drawn fights that Liyab is ready to start again.
Lots of pings though coming out here from Liyab, looking to set up for their third dragon of the game, as Ocean's going to be spawning in about 40 seconds. So you're going to go ahead, get priority into the mid lane, get some push out as Gemini and Mission are already showing themselves toward top lane. Mission though, do keep in mind, has teleport available, does come off cooldown, so you will have that for that fight if he wishes to join.
Indeed, and there are a couple of ward spots just in case the wave is shoved. Teleport coming from Mission, I believe.
He just wants to join in on the fight. PK's already here, so he has a teleport available. Does mean TP advantage is technically in favor of Liyab if they're able to keep their teleports up. But you see how much priority is coming in for this mid lane as Machi want to try and push that back and force Liyab to have to concede the vision around the dragon. Kaigu looking for a roam. He's been able to sneak in behind Machi. There is a ward. He didn't go over it though. So that's also a nice steal coming out from Rex. Has depth charge available. Bruce is disconnected, but he's reconnected to the game. Doesn't matter. It's going to be the call of the Forge God being used, and it's just a mega knock-up. And unfortunately for Liyab, is it going to be enough? Exorcism, though, gets a huge amount of stacks, but Bruce is still on the side, nailing away. He flashes away from Bruce and the rest of the squad, and Machi find the ace.
Beautifully done flash by Bruce to avoid the knockup from James, and he is safe and sound despite the flank, despite the plans of Liyab to pull the trigger, and the timing couldn't have been more perfect with that Baron up and running.
Unfortunately, we've seen it before. Exorcism gets a little bit too aggressive during the team fights, doesn't save his flash for when he needs to escape. And he was doing fine there over toward the side, but he wanted to get in range of Bruce. Bruce still had his flash, though, available, and he was able to survive. And like that, Machi, you feel the swing back toward them in their favor, considering now they're able to catch up on gold, have a Baron buff in their pocket, and on top of that, plenty of gold to spend.
And and we mentioned this before, that Machi does love to play these long, drawn fights, or rather in towards the late game, they're very comfortable. Meanwhile, Liyab, not very much, as you get to see Liyab play a little bit more desperately when it comes to these fights. And it has been apparent when they played against Machi before. You can see players from Liyab flashing just to get a return kill, only to sort of expose them a little bit more. And for Machi, they will be a little bit more satisfied considering that they won that big 5v5 in their favor. And now that Baron is on their side, you mentioned it's a big, big swing.
On top of that, too, that's an upgraded Rabadon's there for the Azir, so Mission's damage now spikes heavily. This Azir is going to be doing a ton with the upgraded Ornn item. We also still have that upgrade on that Bork there for Bruce, so if he's able to stay fine during the fights, he'll be able to just shred them apart. Doi, that's very aggressive, but guess what? Hama is able to find himself the knockup. They're just piling into Bruce. That's your play. Exorcism, though, he's too far forward. Kaigu gets taken down, and Bruce is still alive. Now Mission Emperor's divide into the back line, and they just slaughter Liyab as they still have yet to finish off the kill on Bruce. Doi is able to escape, but Machi survive.
Bruce with the master kiting skills there, with the dancing shoes on, and it seems that one is really matched for what he did in this fight. So the knockup was there, definitely. Everybody was just piling on towards Bruce there, as you saw that everyone, the front line of Machi, just continued to peel for him. And look at the lifesteal from Bruce. It was definitely enough. And Rex not able to finish the fight. And that's game.
That's going to be game. Machi are able to claim victory. Liyab, now lose their 3rd game in a row on the day. Unfortunately now, it's looking a little dire here for the Philippine representative as Machi continue their 11-game win streak.
And the thing was, it was just very unfortunate considering the fact that they had a humongous, well, I wouldn't call it, it's not a 10K lead, but they had a really nice and comfy lead. And it's one of those things and where Liyab just can't really finish the game in time for everyone to spike. And I feel like it could have gone better if Machi Esports didn't get a lot of return kills after their very aggressive start.
Yeah, I liked it from Liyab. I really did. I love seeing that hyper-aggressive style come out of their bot lane. They try and get X's in, get the ball rolling, and try and get him to just pop off. But unfortunately for him, it's just not doable for the rest of the squad. And Machi are able to stand their ground. And you gotta commend Bruce, especially during that final fight, able to keep himself just alive with that lifesteal. And you can see why Machi used to always fall back onto him for their win condition.
Exactly, and it was just very beautiful to watch from Machi's side. Of course, I was a little bit worried for them considering that they were in a 10-win streak, now 11-win streak for them, and they looked really, really rattled when they faced Liyab at the early game. But now, it seems to me all of these former LMS squads are quite confident facing Liyab that they would opt to form a more late-game scaling composition because they know that Liyab can probably not finish the game.
Yeah, so for Liyab, they're going to be pretty happy with, I think they're going to be happy with the start that they had. Unfortunately, there for Machi, there's, it's hard to come back against Machi here, especially once they were able to keep the game so darn close. And they were able to play into this, you know, wacky fiesta style that we're used to seeing over in the LST. And they were able to keep calm and composed. I think that's the biggest thing coming out from Machi in this game was the fact that they were able to keep themselves in focus, keep themselves where they needed to be to keep themselves in the game.
Exactly, and despite seeing, you know, a lot of aggressive plays coming from, just as we mentioned, Gemini eventually, you know, adjusted. And let's take a look at this last fight again. A lot of flashes being burned. And the Emperor's Divide really put them in this really nice choke point. And look at the numerous knockups that Liyab had to suffer from the side of Machi Esports. And because of that, you only had 3 members alive. Bruce exhausted, Flash still available, lifesteal enabled, and therefore it was just easy pickings for Machi.
And with that, it's going to be the victory going in favor of Machi. They find themselves, I believe, their 12th straight win here in the PCS and remain at the top of the standings. And I believe with that victory, have secured, I believe, first place, or at least the tiebreaker, so they do at least have a playoff bye in their future. So congratulations over there to Machi. Liyab still need only 1 game to at least force a tiebreaker with them. J-Team and HKA, they still have the game coming up after this against Nova, as well as the game against Resurgence tomorrow, so it's not done yet there for the Liyab fans.
They look really, really solid, though, at the early game. I feel like they're getting stronger as the day progresses, but at the same time, it's one of those things that we did this already, why didn't it work? And it felt like if it could be a little bit cleaner, especially one of the early game dives on where they hesitated a little bit, they dived and it was Dodoy, I believe, that fell, and as well as James. Like, was just, they're all falling like dominoes. And if they managed to clean that, if they managed to polish that, I feel like it would have been their win.
And with that, it's going to be the MVP going over to Mission, which I think is fair, especially in those last team fights with the Azir, especially in there in the mid lane that sealed away the game in Machi's favor. Mission playing beautifully. Also got to give, you know, an unofficial MVP over there to Bruce, especially too on the Varus. You saw there in that team fight, was able to just keep himself composed, stay out of trouble, away from all. It was a split-second flash also. That was beautiful. And for that, Machi are going to be able to take home the victory.
Yeah, and considering the fact that Liyab poured everything just to eliminate Bruce, you have that Azir to just tread over everybody, considering the fact that a lot of them, most of them are melee based, so you will be enraged. All of you will be enraged at all of those painful soldiers.
Yeah, the soldiers, they do a decent amount of damage, especially when you have a, what is it, the witch cap coming out there for the upgraded Ornn item. So again, ton of damage. So we'll come back over to our online desk where my lovely co-caster is just perfectly composed, doesn't move. That's
Esports pose.
insane.
Uh-huh.
That's the esports pose. Can I do the same?
Yeah, you're doing it right. Oh my word.
But now for Liyab, you gotta look forward to your next game. You gotta keep on trucking, and they gotta go up against Nova, which of course, regional rivalry between the Philippines and Thailand when it comes to the historical matchup between a lot of these players with G4 and X presenting crew. So last time around, Liyab were able to take home the victory.
Indeed, and I'm looking forward to that. It's definitely a fight fire with fire kind of match between Nova and Liyab, and it's quite different from what HQ Talon and Machi did for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take a short break. When we come back though, it's Nova versus Liyab.